what is this business continuity planning? Let's hear from the horse's mouth itself. And आज हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं Major Ranjeet Soni.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. Hi, sir. I'm here.
Hi, welcome Ranjeet. Welcome to the talk today. Grateful that you could spare some time. Ranjeet, I'll give you a brief introduction. He's a mighty Mustang, 90th course NDA, Maratha Light Infantry. He took an early release from Army and then he got into this business continuity line, and thereafter he has been, making waves, creating news, making news actually, and he has earned a name for himself. And he has been with the biggies like PricewaterhouseCoopers, and he is the co-owner of MIGS Global Consultancy Services Private Limited, a subsidiary of MidCat. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely, sir. It's a subsidiary of MidCat Advisory, another risk consulting firm. Yes.
Thank you. It's an honor, Ranjeet, to be talking to you today.
It's my pleasure. It's an honor to be here along with you and with so many fellow people, friends, I hope.
So, Ranjeet, business continuity, risk assessment, ये सब बहुत बारी सुना हुआ है, समझ कुछ नहीं आता, पहली बात तो when you hear of risk, first thing comes to the mind is when you are a veteran, especially, or you are going to be a veteran. First thing which comes to your mind is risk is in terms of physical, security, and then you think of other things. So, what is risk for in corporate, parlance? Risk assessment. How's risk and security perceived in corporate?
I think thank you so much, sir, for asking this, because क्या होता है, like you correctly said, as veterans or people who are coming from the uniformed services, the moment we start talking about risk, everything is physical. Risk hai, matlab, there is a risk to life, probably of an attack or something untoward happening. Of course, in a way, that is correct. Risk is, if to put it in a very layman's term, risk is any untoward incident that can happen, right? Anything out of the ordinary which makes us go, oh, ye kya ho gaya, right? So that is an incident. Now, of course, that is an event that happens. Risk also takes into account as to what can be the impact, right? So typically, if you look at it, risk, as we say, is a function of the likelihood of that bad event occurring and what is the kind of impact. Kya impact hone wala hai, right? Now, that impact can be in terms of loss of life, loss of assets, or impact, say, financial impact. And one of the most important aspects which every corporate, every organization in business is worried about is reputational impact, right? Reputational and financial are two things that everybody is aware of, very chary about, very wary of. That should not happen, right? So people prepare for that. And tayari karne ke liye, of course, you need to identify as to what are the risks. There is no set pattern कि ये organization या सभी के लिए risk एक समान रहेंगे, बराबर रहेंगे. Location wise, the risks will differ. Depending on what is the kind of operations, your risks will differ, right? For example, say there is a hotel, a 5-star hotel in NCR vis-a-vis a 5-star hotel, say in Chhattisgarh, somewhere, will have different risks, right? The way it can manifest will be different. Similarly, a mall, right? A mall in, say, NCR or a metro like a Mumbai will have different connotations compared to a mall which is there, say, a recent mall which has opened up in Bihar, right? So risks manifest itself as any untoward incident which can have an impact on business, which can disrupt the business, right? And therefore, the first aspect is to understand as to what is it that can impact the business. So that is risk, right? As to what can happen, what can be the impact? Can it be, loss of assets, people, uh, financial? Will it have a reputational impact, a legal impact, right? For example, so I was giving out, certain incidents that have happened. A very simple example, if you see, I'm sure most of you will remember, oh, Nestle ka Maggie wala incident. That the kind of reputational impact that it had, and from reputational it went to business impact in terms of finances. Any reputational impact will directly hit the finances. That is the risk that corporates are worried about, right? Of course, people, life, everything is to be taken care of, but it is the larger aspect of it that people want to be wary of. And that is where, you carry out a risk assessment, and you carry out, identify as to what can be the possible scenarios, what can be those risks which are going to impact your business.
Right, right. So very well brought out. I mean, what I've understood from your this thing is risk is anything which is impacting business, whether in
Absolutely.
any form, whether it is the reputation of the business, whether it is their profit loss, top line, bottom line, whatever it is. If it is impacting the business in an adverse manner, it is a risk, right?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Right.
Anything that has an adverse impact is a risk and needs to be
So,
mitigated.
though it is little this thing for the veteran, though our civil audience, of course, would understand everything is in terms of business, but for the my defense community, defense brethren, it is little different from what we see as risk in the defense line, right? So, where does the business continuity figure in this?
A typical example. Okay, I'll come down. Say, uh, we always, in units, हम रखते हैं, sir. There is a number one vehicle, there is a number two vehicle, right? And say the CO is moving, you always have the number one and number two going along, right? Why do we do that? It is to ensure that agar number one kharab ho gaya chalte chalte, to number, he gets into number two and moves, right? So what are we ensuring? We are just ensuring that the task which is at hand, because of a disruption of number one going off road, is taken care by number two vehicle, right? So हमने क्या किया? We identified a risk. The risk was probably the vehicle breakdown. Vehicle breakdown, क्या likelihood है? Probably that vehicle, though it is good, but chances are there, right? And impact क्या होगा? The impact is going to be very high. So therefore, if the likelihood may be less, but the impact is going to be more because the CO is not going to reach at the right place at the right time, we need to have a backup. And what is that backup? Is your number two, right? So what have we done? We have done a business continuity planning. It's a backup that we call their contingency planning, whatever you might want to call, but that is your business planning in a business continuity planning in a nutshell, right? Your business continuity planning comes into play when something goes wrong. जनरली काफी बार लोग बोलते हैं कि बिजनेस कंटिन्यूटी नॉर्मल ऑपरेशंस चलता रहता है. नो, नॉर्मल ऑपरेशंस इज योर रूटीन ऑपरेशंस दैट आर गोइंग ऑन, राइट? योर बिजनेस कंटिन्यूटी यू ऑलवेज प्लान व्हेन देयर इज अ disruption, when something has gone wrong, right? So say for example, we carry spare batteries when we are going for operations, right? What is that for? That agar mera communication, so I have planned, say, going out for one day, right? Now, one day, my the battery, the radio set battery will last. It can last 1.5 days. But what happens if I have a contact? Now, if I've had a contact, that means I may have to extend my stay. So, do I have battery to cater for that? Right? So, that is your business continuity planning. Okay? I think what happens is that if I have a contact, right, towards the end of my time that I'm going to be patrolling, then I need to continue for, say, 3 hours more or 5 hours more before the patrol, the second patrol or reinforcement can fetch in, which can get a battery for me. Therefore, I need to extend my radio's battery life with for another 5 hours. Those 5 hours ke liye probably I need to carry another battery, or if it is more, then I need to carry two or whatever, right? So that is your, in a nutshell, business continuity planning, right? In again, it can be in corporate, it can be based on your supply chain, it can be based on anything that supports your business which can go wrong.
वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग रंजीत, इतनी आसानी से किसी ने इतने सरल शब्दों में nobody has explained it to me. I mean, I have I have asked this question earlier also. बहुत सारी इंग्लिश के साथ आता है ये क्वेश्चन, heavy jargon के साथ. Very beautifully brought out.
I'm just trying not to target because I understand, it does go, sometimes we lose. So I know I have been on the other side. When I started, I absolutely understand. So please, I'm sorry if I actually come out with some jargon, but I'll try to keep it.
No, you please come out with your jargon. That is okay. But the way you have made us understand, it's really very easy to comprehend. So Ranjeet, moving ahead, I have always been telling my guest speakers who are there कि हमारी audience जो है वो basically चार उसमें है. There are people who are from the civil street. There are people who are part of defense. These are two broad categories who are part of defense service. They are either already in the civil street or they are likely to be in the civil street in the near future. And in the defense category, we have, short service commission officer, 5 to 10 years of service. And then we have people who are taking PMR, 15 to 20 years. And then we have people who are coming after full service.
Right.
So the takeaway from today's talk should be that each and every of this category should know if whether the business continuity planning domain is for them or not, or how do they come to know whether it is for them or not. Secondly, what all things are to be done to get into this line. So this is my takeaway, our takeaway from you, our ask from you for today's talk. So moving ahead, is there a difference between business continuity planning and BCM, business continuity management? People keep using these terms interchangeably.
So typically, business continuity management is a all-encompassing, जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना सर, risk management. So risk management will entail your identification of risks, your management of identification of the risk, plan for managing those risks, then applying it on ground. So similarly, agar mujhe baat karna ho, when I'm talking about a business continuity management, it is the motherhood statement. Bada business continuity management karna hai, right? It encompasses your business continuity plan, which comes out from your risks. What are those risks? Kya risks hai which are going to impact your business that you need to plan for? So therefore, you need to identify those risks which are going to be impacting your business. Now, sir, if we look at it, they will not just be your physical risks. Abhi generally, because hum kya hai, hum sochte hain, a bit like you typically said, and it happened with me also. Risk, physical. ठीक है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा बहुत बोलिया, चलो साइबर यार, साइबर भी मान लेते हैं, something non-digital and digital. But there are a lot of other risks which actually comes into play when you are looking at a business. There can be compliance related risks. Rule change ho gaya, right? Your something which was working right now, this you could do without getting a license, but suddenly now you need to get a license. If you don't get a license, your business will close, right? Environment ka issues are there. So compliance related risks are there. Of course, your physical risks are there. Physical risks can have a lot of issues. It is not just loss of life and limb or assets. There can be fraud, right? There can be supply chain issues. There can be, your geopolitical issues, social issues. Those can be there. Your compliances issues comes in. Your financial issues are again, they are separate. Your, because of certain reasons of the way the company is performing, there has to be a cash flow chalte rehna chahiye sir, wo issue aa sakta hai. Now so these are various risks which can be there, and to mitigate that you make a plan. Now once you have made a plan to ban gaya sir, abhi how do I know that plan is correct or not? So I need to test it, right? So we test it in a simulated environment. you do mock drills, you do rehearsals, you do your war gaming, and war gaming बहुत चलता है sir, in the corporate also. I'm sure we all understand
Right.
situational simulation exercises, but and the CXO level people will be there, and the more you sort of can grill them, they are happiest because they want to actually understand as to what is the weakness that the plans are there. Plus you will also need to train people who are at the execution level, right? So you have found out, okay, I had made a plan, there are certain issues with that plan, or that plan works properly. You will also define the roles and responsibilities. Who is going to do what? What is the kind of action that one person can do? Decision कौन क्या ले सकता है, कहाँ पे क्या trigger होगा? Because there are a lot of things which starts getting triggered, right? You might be looking at different vendors. Typical examples, you are in a manufacturing setup, for example, or आपका there is some coal which is required, and coal is coming in every day, but there are limited routes or truck vendors who are coming in, right? Now, if that route gets blocked, or there is a strike in a particular area, वो सामान नहीं आएगा. That coal cannot come in. Therefore, you need to plan with separate vendors. So all these things gets into that roles responsibility. There is communication aspect which needs to come into it, both internal and external, right? So once you have done all this testing, training, you have refined the plan, and then it gets into actual practice. Now, this entire thing, forms part of business continuity management. Also, the last point, which is your trigger to actually activate the plan when something goes wrong, response and recovery part of it, right? So all these things get encompassed into the business continuity management when we are talking about it. And plan forms one part of it. Our security, what we generally talk about, physical security, cyber security, is again a smaller chunk of the overall business continuity management that we talk about.
So business continuity management is basically all encompassing. It is.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you have actually covered my next question also. What are the components? You have already given all the components of a plan and management part of it. So I mean, if somebody has to plan, first of all, is it too technical? Is there a some very stringent requirement to be in this line? What is that quality which makes you a suitable person for business continuity domain? And if somebody is interested, then how does he plan? Especially for GD soldiers, I get this term thrown at me very often. Sir, hum to GD soldier hain. They put themselves down. They put अपने आप को खुद ही नीचे कर देते हैं कि हम तो GD soldier हैं. And in my opinion, there is nothing known as GD soldier. There is nobody in GD. Everybody is a specialized category person in defense forces. So, what is the requirement, and how does one plan to pursue this career?
Very relevant question, sir. And first, I let me tell the audience, one thing is, let us never put ourselves down. नहीं यार, I तो कुछ भी है. I am one. There are certain qualities in me. That's why I'm standing here today. I means all of us, right? If I just talk about me, see, I'm a non-techie from India. I'm a infantry guy. I was a PC, but because of certain requirements, I took a PMR. बाहर आया. Initially, frankly speaking, I also felt, यार कुछ नहीं कर सकता. Probably, I don't have any technical skills. There is no specialization. What you need only is to have a logical mind, to be able to, which I'm sure all of us have, right? The mere fact, a security guy has a very logical mind. Second requirement, think like a perpetrator. As it is, हम बहुत pessimist होते हैं, the security guys. We start thinking with what is the worst case scenario, which is required in business continuity. सबसे खराब क्या हो सकता है? So we start from there. Again, it is required to understand risk, to plan for risk. बहुत ज़्यादा optimism doesn't work. Logical mind, we always work on steps. ठीक है यार, अगर ये हुआ तो हम ये करेंगे, ये भी गलत हो सकता है. ओके, इसका भी कर लिया, इसका भी कर लिया, 4 contingency सोच लिया, 4 चीज का planning कर लिया. Generally things will work out, right? Analytical mind, thinking like a perpetrator, and just ability to use the resources, which I'm sure we have been doing. हम squeeze करके ले आते हैं from in forces, right? We are able to remember कि अरे यार 4 यूनिट दूर भी ये सामान पड़ा हुआ है, ये रिसोर्स है, I can utilize it. It is just be able to understand what can go wrong, how can I plug it in a logical manner, which all of us have. So let us not put ourselves down, right? Then, of course, one very important aspect, this is the crux. These are the basic qualities that are needed, if I put it in a nutshell, which all of us have. Then one aspect which is a little important when you are working in corporate is to understand the business. Because what happens is, kuch bhi ho, at the end of the day, we have to align to the business, right? It is said security supports business. I say no, security doesn't just support business. We are, you know, we are the encompasses of business. अगर security ठीक से नहीं काम करेगा, अगर business continuity, risk management ठीक से काम नहीं करेगा, then your entire business cannot work. Yeah, nothing can work. Say you might have a 800 crore ka plant in a remote area. You have put it there because benefits are there, everything is good. But if the security function, your risk function does not work properly, can that 800 crore plant function? No, it cannot function properly. It will not be optimized. If it cannot be optimized, business does not get met. Yeah. So that's why it is not. Yes, you need to have an analytical mind, logical mind, but it is not difficult to be done. And then, of course, there are certain other. Again, the will to learn should be able to take us through.
So first of all, that is very encouraging. So gentlemen, all of you who have been using this term कि हम तो GD soldier हैं, सबसे पहले आप अपनी vocabulary, अपनी जो है ना इसको ठीक करिए, क्योंकि जब तक आप सही लैंग्वेज यूज नहीं करेंगे तब तक आपकी परसेप्शन जो कॉर्पोरेट है उसमें चेंज नहीं हो सकती. सो लेट्स चेंज द परसेप्शन इन द कॉर्पोरेट एंड दैट इज व्हाट आई एम attempting. Okay, so there is no GD person. All of you are specialized, and all of us are capable. So, Ranjeet, what is the how do we, if I am suppose coming out after say 10 years of service, okay, or even after 20 years of service, right? So, how do I plan 1 year prior if I am targeting to be in this domain of business continuity?
That's a very valid question, sir, and which will help us prepare, for our future career ahead, so that you're not thinking after you're coming out. So for anybody, and say, a person who is coming out after 20 years of service or 10 years of service, right? Or even somebody from the civil background who is looking at getting into the business continuity part. How do we go about looking at it as a option for our careers, right? First thing is to understand what is the requirement, what it entails, what is my interest. Now, again, typically a business continuity requirement or a option, like I said, is to ensure that your business continues to function when there are disruptions. It's able to recover and get back to business as usual as soon as possible, right? So you need to understand what are those aspects of business that need to get taken care of, right? Second aspect is, of course, to get certain certifications done. Now, in business continuity also, there can be a overarching kind of a thing. So you have your the certification in terms of the business continuity standard. There is a ISO standard per se, which is your 22301, ISO 22301 of 2019. Where you can do a certification as an implementer and as a lead auditor, wherein you can assess businesses plus also help businesses run their function. That is one program. There is a ISO 31000, which talks about risk management, enterprise level risk management. It not only talks about assessment, but how the entire enterprise goes about doing the risk management. These are some of the basic basic courses that you can start getting into and then identifying, does it interest you, right? So ये 4 दिन 5 दिन वाले course रहते हैं. You can have a look at it before, see if it interests you. Does it really interest you? Are you happy being in a crisis? Because it is very good to say that I would like to be in business continuity, or I would like to be in risk management. Again, there can be two aspects of it. One is when you are doing it for an organization, right? You are doing it for, you are within the organization, you're on roles of an organization and doing it. And second option can be when you are doing a consulting aspect of it, when you are an external person who is doing it. The advantage of internal person is you are doing it only for one organization, so one business. You understand that business, it's easier to understand, and then you can do it. When you're doing a consulting aspect, you are doing it for multiple people, multiple businesses. You are running around quite a lot. You're moving from one crisis to another, but the learning aspect goes quite a bit. It's tremendous, because you have got various clients, various organizations that you're working with. So are you ready to do that? What is it that you will be more comfortable? So you have identified, yes, business continuity is for me. I'm okay getting into a crisis part, right? If you feel that nahi yaar, everybody has aspirations. If you're coming out with that, okay, I have spent a lot of time with the army, I've been moving around a lot, I need to settle down a bit, probably not so much, right? Then probably you'll have to rethink a little bit. But if not, you're ready to get down, you're ready to get into the grind, then do your course, understand, start identifying as to reading about as to how things have moved, what are those lessons learned, and how you can go about it. Start. Then of course another important aspect is building your network and reaching out to the network. वो बोलते हैं ना, your net worth is your network, right? I know it is a play of words, but when, especially in the corporate, when you come out in the corporate, it makes a lot of difference, right? Today probably I'm sitting here because sir knows me, or Major Vipul knows me. We have worked together, we have identified ourselves, so that's how we reach out to each other, right? Whenever there is a need. And that's how you will be able to identify people know your strength. That works the best today in corporate. References work much more than when you are straight away trying to get picked up. So build your network, build the references, right? And then once you have done that, you can start looking at specializations also. Now you can look at specializations in terms of your information security. Again, coming back to sir's point, हम बोलते हैं GD, information security, पता नहीं ये बहुत technical होगा. Not technical at all. I'm like I said, I gave you my background. I am a certified lead auditor for information security. It is again putting your logical bend of mind right to application, right? There is health and safety, which is there today. There is management, IT management. You don't have to get into the day-to-day coding or dealing with that. You are supposed to manage, right? Uh, Again, various other certifications that you can carry out. You can do 45,000 series is there, right? 14,000 series is there. So you build that up, build your network, see where you fit in, and I'm sure you can look at a good career path in business continuity management and risk management per se.
Thank you, Ranjeet. I like this thing. One thing is that ISO certifications, which you mentioned. So I would like to draw attention of everyone that these are just 4-5 days courses, basically. So you can actually join one of these courses while you are in service and see for yourself whether it is of interest to you or not, and what is it broadly. Then there are courses on Coursera and Udemy also. You can maybe, just get to know, join those courses, get to know what is this field all about, and you would know whether you want to be in this line or not. Now, my next question to you, Ranjeet, is since it is very important for all these corporates. I mean, any big corporate will value business continuity, you know. So, and it is more on the consulting side. So, it's a very natural thing to assume that all these big fours, PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMGs, and Deloitte, and everyone is looking for people who are specialized in these, right? So it is also, is it a safe thing to assume that you stand a very good chance if you pursue this line and do it with little bit of diligence, due diligence, and networking and hard work, whatever is required, all the ingredients. If you apply all those ingredients, you stand a very good chance to land a job in any of the big fours.
No, a very, very pertinent and very good question, sir. Uh, all big fours, or rather any company, sir, especially a company worth its salt, is looking for people who are good, who know what they're talking about, and people who can, at the end of the day, they translate what the talk is into actual action, right? And all Fajis are good at it, sir, when we get down to it. Now, a company like a big four, or let's say all consulting companies, like
Yeah,
I mentioned, so any consulting company will look at people who can understand everything quickly and translate into action across various clients, right? So when you're working for a big consulting company or a large consulting company, you may need to be working on more than one project at any particular time point of time, and therefore you need to understand those many businesses, and you should be able to, like they say in today's typical jargon, you need to be agile enough to be able to moving, quickly switch between a couple of projects or whatever. If you are working for an organization which is not consulting, which is organization which is providing or working with a company which is doing your basics, there you are doing it mainly for the organization. Sometimes it is a good step up ladder to first get some industry experience and then get into the consulting part. Because what happens, and I'll give you an example, sir. Like
right.
initially, when so I typically landed into straight into consulting, because that was the time when there was a recession going on. uh, Things worked out in a manner. I landed up in Mahindra. A couple of initial projects, I thought I had given a brilliant solution, like yaar ye to aisa hi hai na, feeling proud of myself. When I take it to the client says, यार ये तो ठीक है, but इसमें ना ये issue होगा, इसमें the moment I shut this, मेरा labor is going to start shouting, the labor is going to stop work, and I'm like, okay, absolutely right. So then of course you learned it on the job, and it is always good to get certain experience with industry. People value it, sir, and it may not be for a longer duration also. Even a year and a half is good. Again, if we can sort of, and all said and done, even in the army or even in the defense forces, it gives us enough experience of having done these business continuity aspects without really putting it into those buckets or jargons. So if we can actually verbalize it when we are talking to these guys, and show them that yes, what I bring to the table is going to add value to your requirements, they'll be happy to take you on. And we can learn, so that is not a problem. And yes, a good business continuity guide today is being looked at by everybody. So industry is lapping up people. uh, Initially, earlier it was either a CSO or a chief technology officer, then
Right.
getting converged to CISO, chief information security officer. Things are converging now. There is a portfolio of risk that has come into play now. So all good organizations, large organizations, have started
Right.
having a chief risk officer who actually manages the risk of all the organization. I think that is what we should be looking at, we should be aiming at as Fajis. Your business continuity, probably your CISOs, uh, your digital getting phygital should be somewhere aligning is onto that. The risk function, managing the risk function of the organization, and we are mighty capable of taking that on, sir. Trust me.
So, will it be of? I mean, if I have to actually, if we have to arrive at a plan, uh, should I say that if somebody does an ISO certification in business continuity, and then supplements it with another things, maybe an information security one or a HSE or something, so that he has qualification for business continuity, and one more aspect of it. It may be in compliances side, it may be in health and safety side, it may be in information security side. Will it make his case better and stronger?
Like what we used to say in Fauj, time spent in recce is never wasted. So similar, any knowledge that we gain, it always stands to value in the long run. So once we have identified that yes, business continuity is what we are looking at. Business continuity management is one aspect. Like you said, information security adds value, because a lot of at the end of the day, ISO 27001 is somewhere rolling up to your business continuity requirement, right? Your ISO 19000 series is rolling up somewhere to the management requirement. Your ISO 31000 is rolling up to management requirement, right? So somewhere all these, and the more we learn, the more capable we feel within ourselves. We can stand up and talk in a gathering. We can actually advise rightly to the core people. At the end of it, sir, what are we looking at? We are looking at being the go-to guy for the CEO or a CXO level people in case something goes wrong. Something going wrong, let's speak to this person. I'm sure he'll be able to come out with a solution. If that is that, yes, business continuity is one part of it. Knowing about information security, your enterprise risk management, your overall management, their HSE is very important, rolls up to business continuity, and that will really, really be helpful.
Great.
Gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah. Push and pull and repel any hate, go create what you want, feel compelled, yeah. And once you